Hello, and happy Saturday, friends. Psyberry here with another Darkest Dungeon How to Use guide. Before I get started today, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this guide with a friend. Alright, let's get down to business. Today we're going to take a deep dive into how to play the Veiled. The Veiled was released February 20th of this year, 2021, and it was last updated just a few days ago on March 3rd of 2021. Let's go over the credits real quick. Metal Guy did the concept, character design, the art, part of the coding, and the writing. Very Whale did a major part of the coding and gameplay design as well. 54NBB did the animations. Kat did the majority of the writing, and Shay did the sound. The canon name of the Veiled is Zaleskar, I believe, is how it should be pronounced. I could be way off. Let's just start by diving in and looking straight at his base statistics. Starts off at first resolve with a max HP of 20. This goes up by 4 at every level to a maximum HP of 36 at 5th resolve. This is below average. This is the exact same HP progression that a Shield Breaker and a Grave Robber will have. It's not entirely problematic to be below average when you're a backliner, and I mean, he's not only useful from the backline, but that's probably where I would put him, somewhere in the 3rd rank. But that's just because I like certain equip, which I'll take all off of him, by the way. The dodge starts off at 0, and it'll progress all the way to a 20. This is on the low end. This is the lowest default dodge progression. It's the same that the Leper or the Vestal get. It's lower than a Crusader's, which is what I would consider average. So he's not going to dodge a lot of incoming attacks, but he kind of doesn't want to, and we'll kind of get into that when we talk about his combat skills. Prot, 0, it's the normal stuff. Speed is a 7, it'll go to an 8 at 3rd resolve, and it'll go up again to a 9 at max resolve. This is a high speed stat, second highest in the default game, tied with the Plague Doctor and the Jester, so he's going to go very early in the turn, very frequently. So this is actually going to help you a lot, depending on, what your moveset is, if you need a high priority heal in the early rounds, or if you need to just do some cleave damage, maybe get a kill with it, or if you need to do one select attack. The accuracy is a 0, this is default, not any plus or minus there. The critical chance is a 3, and it'll progress all the way to a 7% at max resolve. This is what I consider average. This is the same crit progression as a Crusader. Yeah, can't really go wrong with that. The damage is almost identical to low-end backline damage, so it'll start at 4 to 7, and it will progress all the way to a 7 to 13. The only real outlier here is at 3rd resolve, normally backliners will have a 6 to 10 range, whereas he has a 6 to 9 range. It's not going to make a huge difference, but you're going to find he's going to do very comparable damage to a occultist or a jester, and it's kind of not his main purpose. And we'll kind of get into that again with the combat skills here in a second. So, as far as stat distribution goes, he's very tethered to that average line, aside from dodge, which is pretty low, but his speed is the other end of that spectrum, very high. So you kind of find somebody here that is going to have very average stats in a lot of categories. As we take a look at its combat skills, let's start with the number 1. First combat skill is Disfigure. It is usable from the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rank, and can target the 1st or 2nd rank opponent. It's a melee attack with an accuracy base of 85, a crit modifier of plus 1%. This does full damage, and it has a low-level chance to stun. At default, it has a 65% base. I believe it'll get to a maximum of 105 at max level. So if you think about it, like, compare it to a stun chance from a Plague Doctor, for instance. At max level, the stun grenade, whatever it's called, will do 140 base stun, and he will max out at 105. So you're still going to maintain a roughly 70% chance that you could stun with a max damage move. So this is probably the bread and butter if you want him to do damage as a normal focus. I have this on my runs a lot. I probably would not make a build without it myself. The bonus here is, like most of his skills, you will notice they have an if HP below section. So if the Veiled's HP is below those thresholds, these skills will do additional effects. In this case, if HP is below 70%, it will inflict a debuff on the target for a minus 5% death blow dealt chance. So if that target is going to hit anybody who's on death's door, it is 5% less likely to inflict death blow. Which is good. This is a way to... now, I'm not sure mechanically how much a negative to their death blow dealt chance can improve your maximum death blow resistance. Because I believe the highest death blow resistance you can get is 87, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if this improves that, or if this just buffs your normal numbers to reach that. But beyond that, if his HP is below 40%, it will also do that minus 5% death blow dealt debuff. And it will also debuff their damage dealt by 10%. If HP below 10%, it will do both of those and also reduce their crit by 6%. The second ability is Enfeeblement. It is usable from the 3rd and 4th rank, and you may target any ranked opponent. It is a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 95 and a damage modifier of negative 100%. This will not do damage. It marks the target, and it has the same stun chance as Disfigure. So you will find, if you keep your Veiled roughly leveled up to the same standards as the dungeon you're going into, and you equip one trinket on him that's going to add maybe 15% to stun chance, you'll find that 60%, 70% of the time he will stun his opponent with either of these moves. Now when you select this one, you will suffer 2 HP damage. This is kind of good. You kind of want him to be below those HP thresholds. It will empower his moves and enable you to use some of them if you get to certain thresholds. So if your HP is below 70% with this attack, it will inflict a debuff on the target from minus 6% dodge. If your HP is below 40%, it will inflict that dodge debuff and de-stealth and ignore stealth on that target. And if his HP is below 10%, it will do both the dodge debuff, the de-stealth, ignore stealth on that target, and have a higher chance to stun at 110% base. So if your HP is low, this is more or less a vastly improved stun. This is slightly better than the Plague Doctor would get with any of her abilities. And it's usable from those back ranks, and you can target anybody. So this, if you keep him with low HP, is a very reliable stun ability. So if you have a kit modded out to do that, this is how you should probably abuse stun. His third ability is Give to the Living. It is usable from the 3rd and 4th rank, and you target an ally, and you heal. You can target yourself too, my bad. And you heal 4 to 6 HP. This levels up almost identically to the Vestal's single target heal ability. However, the high end on the Veiled here is a little higher. So the base healing value for the Vestal compared to him on the single target healing ability is the same, but he has the possibility to heal for 1 more HP on the top end, at the cost of suffering 2 HP damage. So, if you don't trust he's gonna survive the next Death Door hit, which, I mean, this character is a new way to ride the edge, so to speak. So if you just really want to get off Death's Door, even for just a second, this might not be bad, but this is definitely a reliable way to heal an ally for sure. If your HP is below 70%, this will also cure bleed on the target you heal. If your HP is below 40%, it will cure that bleed and clear horror from the target. And if your HP is below 10%, it will cure bleed, clear horror, and give them a plus 10% healing received buff. Which can really help if that target is just being ganged up on, for instance, or they're the only one with HP missing, and you're going to heal them again next round anyway. The Veiled's fourth ability is Withering Chant. It is usable from ranks 2, 3, and 4, and can only target the front rank of the opponent. It's a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 90, a damage modifier of negative 50%, and no crit modifier. This is an armor-piercing attack, so it will go straight through any prot, and it will debuff the target for minus 42% healing received with 100% base. And on yourself, you will heal 20% of your max HP and mark yourself as a target. So this is not one of his moves that is only accessible from low health, but this is if you do not want to bog your moveset down with those abilities. This is a good self-heal option, because similar to the Vestal's attack and heal option, this is going to be high turn order kind of priority move. You're going to get 2 goals accomplished at once. Just be mindful, this is going to heal you rather significantly. It's going to take you from any of those HP thresholds, most likely to the next one up. So this might depower your other moveset. His fifth combat skill is Grave Grasp, usable from the 3rd or 4th rank, and it targets the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ranked opponents on the opposing side. It's a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 90, a damage modifier of negative 35%, and a crit mod of negative 4%. This will debuff those targets from minus 5% death blow dealt chance at 100% base, and you will suffer 2 HP damage and mark yourself as a target. This is a good way, I find, to open up a combat. Especially if you want to get into those low HP thresholds, you can do HP damage to yourself, mark yourself to take more incoming attacks than you otherwise would, and before you know it, second round comes, you're at least as low as the 70% value, and possibly lower. Speaking of those low HP values, if your HP is below 70% with this move, you will inflict a minus 6 accuracy debuff to the target. If your HP is below 40%, you will debuff their accuracy and debuff their torch decrease skills by 50%. And it will do the same thing at HP below 10%. His sixth ability is Pierce the Veil. It is only usable twice per battle, and it is only valid when you are on Death's Door. It is usable from rank 1, 2, or 3, and can target opponents in rank 1, 2, or 3. It's a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 140, so this won't miss very often, a damage modifier of plus 90%, and a crit modifier of 8%. This will debuff 15% crit with 120% base, and the entire enemy party is potentially stunned with 110% base. And when you use this move, you will heal 30% of your max HP, stress yourself out for 15% stress, and minus 20% healing received. So, this ability is it's very reminiscent of the Flagellant's Exsanguinate, in that it's going to do, it's just going to be a empowered melee attack. This one is ranged. That does what they normally do, but also while healing yourself off of Death's Door or close to it. In this case, it is only usable from Death's Door. I find I really, really want to use this move, but as Death's Door is the requirement, not like 10% or lower HP or the like, it doesn't come up as often as I would like in party compositions that I've played with. If you plan to use this or the next move I go over, we'll talk about how to build your party to maybe get that to be more likely soon after this. His final ability is Death Wish. It is also only usable twice per battle, and only valid during Death's Door. You can use this ability from ranks 2, 3, or 4. This will deal stress damage for 5, it will clear stun, it'll clear debuffs, and it'll heal the entire party 2 points a round for 3 rounds. And on yourself, you will heal 30% max HP, very similar to the last move. You'll deal 10% stress damage to yourself, and a minus 50% healing received debuff. So this is the let's clear debuffs, clear stuns, and heal everybody a bit version of his super move. Again, very reminiscent of the Flagellant, only the requirement is Death's Door instead of low health. So let's breeze right through the camping skills real quick. It's got the normal generic Encourage, Wound Care, and Pep Talk with no notable changes. His first unique camping skill is Past Life Regression. It is a time cost 3 ability, and you target yourself, and you will take minus 25% stress and a minus 20% stress for the next 4 battles. So this is a very good, it's a lot like Pep Talk and Encourage rolled into one and used on himself. This is a good way to, if you're marking him a lot through combat and he's taking a lot of both HP and stress damage, this is a good way to mitigate that damage he's taken or reduce the future damage they might take. His second unique camping skill is No Rest, No Peace. It is a time cost 4 ability that you target yourself, and it will heal 50% of your HP, and it will buff you for the next 4 battles, 10% death blow resistance, and 10% healing received, while also improving your accuracy by 10. So this is a pretty good self-heal ability. I find that he doesn't need to use this often. I would unlock this. I would not normally have it selected, and then try and keep in mind when I have the Veiled out in a place to select this onto my active skills and then camp if I need it. Because he's got far more useful skills otherwise, in my opinion. His third unique camping skill is Cold Touch of Death. It's a time cost 3 ability. You suffer 20% HP damage. You select one companion, and they will take 15% stress, but remove mortality debuffs and heal 40% of their HP. So if you've got a ally who's had a very, very rough time in this dungeon so far, this might not be a bad way to kind of reset, recover some shit. There's not a lot of remove mortality debuffs in this game, and this is not an altogether expensive one. His final camping skill is Study Necromantic Scrolls. Again, a time cost 3 ability. You will inflict 15 stress on yourself, and this will prevent nighttime ambush. And for the next 3 battles, he will do 3 more damage. Not 3%, 3 more damage. So all of his attacks will do 3 damage more than they used to. I'm not entirely sure how this interacts with a 0 damage move, like Enfeeblement. My assumption is that it will still do 0 damage, but it might, in fact, just do 3, which would be hilarious. That is his camping skills. Let's see, let's go over the crit effect real quick. When he gets a crit, he is going to buff his death blow resistance by, I believe it's 20%, and he will debuff the target he just critted. He will debuff their death blow infliction chance. So he's very, very catered to, in 2 different ways, making sure him and his allies do not die. So this is rather it's a unique crit effect. I love it, and it's perfectly tailored to him. And overall, when you get crits, it's very, very functional. So I mentioned before I was going to lightly discuss party composition. He's a very functional single target healer, and if you have the right moveset equipped and he's not moving around a lot, or if you have the right moveset equipped and don't mind him moving around a lot, he has abilities he can use from any rank, which is nice. If you plan on using either Pierce the Veil or Death Wish in your party, I highly advise you to not bring another healer who does AoE healing, because you need to be on death's door for these. And in fact, I would even lean that direction to not have an AoE healer travel with him at all, because you kind of want him at low health most of the time. You'll find he's a very functional single target healer, but you might get bogged down. You might have multiple people that could use that heal during that turn. So it might be a good idea to bring like a arbalist or a musketeer along with him, so that he can get some heals. He can get some backup healing, so to speak. And if you do bring someone who marks target like a musketeer or an arbalist, this is not a bad move to use in the place of something else on your moveset, especially if he's going to stay in those back ranks, because the mark target synergy and the potential to maybe stun is going to help a ton. So, let's see. What quirks would I keep in mind? I locked Unyielding because I found this guy like this, and I just love it. It's probably not going to be as effective as just trinketing him to max death blow, but now I have to use one less trinket to do so, so that's nice. What else would I lock on this guy? Well, I mean, if you're going to be healing at all, I would definitely put Hippocratic on so that I can get the most out of healing from Give to the Living. But also, it might be worth looking at if you find, when you play the Veiled, if you find that they are in these low HP thresholds very often, and it's too nerve-wracking, he does have some self-healing moves that if you lock Gifted on him as the quirk, he will heal more from. So that 20% max HP that Withering Chant will self-heal, it would actually be more, which is helpful. But also, keep in mind that will heal you enough to take you into the next healing bracket. Let's see. Trinket mentions, I usually equip, with something that will improve his stun skill chance. In this case, I'm using one of the Ringmaster trinkets for that, because it's also, as long as he's not afflicted, adding to damage and accuracy. So I find that this 25% stun skill chance bonus is rather nice when you're pairing it with something at this level, stunning 95% of the time. That almost brings him up to the normal stun of any stun lock class, and, well, he's doing full damage with this, so that's always nice. So I think I've spent enough time talking about this guy's abilities. Let's everybody equipped? Yeah. Let's show you how he works.
Can the defiled be consecrated? Can the fallen find rest?
Alright. Combat 1. Let's see what we can get done here. First things first. I do not want you getting a turn. I think I can focus fire the ghoul enough to be worthwhile here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Can I get a stun? That's the question of the day. I did. I love it. I love it. Alright. I would like you to defend my Plague Doctor for now. I find that running him with a guard unit whether a man-at-arms or anything else that literally guards. If you can get him to death's door, or even like in the 10% low health bracket, then you can keep him there by guarding him. Similar to this. And then just, when he does get targeted, someone else takes that damage and he doesn't need to worry about death's door checks at all.
Obliterated.
Let's see. I'm gonna change your moveset out next turn, Mrs. Plague Doctor, because I don't really like having two different stuns on you.
No intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
Be considered a virtue. Why are you locked? That was weird as hell. I must have just jumped into the menu before the battle was technically over. Oh, let's since I'm showing you off, let's boost your damage. Hey, hey, hey. He's a backline damage dealer, so it's not going to be like super impressive, but dealing a full HP attack of doing like, you know, 8-ish damage while also getting stuns pretty reliably, can't really go wrong with that. That's like having an abomination with lots of damage and stun. Just locking down that chain whip. Alright, first things first. Let's get a Blight.
Destroyed.
Good job, Sephiroth.
Inspiration and improvement.
Alright, let's get a stun. And you, sir. 15. And the stun. My god. What a badass.
Unforgiving.
See, I do not need a heal, because this party is wrecking everything. I'll keep in mind everybody but him is level 6 in here, just for safety. The last thing I want, I've already had it happen a few times, is doing a guide video and then like running through the 3 or 4 battles and then just finishing the dungeon off camera, losing somebody in the guide videos. It's just not worth it to lose roster slots while making a how to use guide video. Alright.
The match is struck.
Battle number 3.
Star is born.
He hasn't taken any damage, so I have not really got to show off his cool animations for having low HP. He will look more and more disturbed by dark energies and such. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to show that off. And I have not been able to show off either of his Death's Door abilities, which, you know, I recommend if you don't have a better thing to put on the kit. Pierce the Veil and or Death Wish are very useful. No stun. You pretty much expect not to be able to get stuns against these guys. The other ghosts aren't as bad, but these guys do not like to be stunned. Ooh, more bled, evidently. I think that got buffed up recently, too. There's no way it used to be that high. Whatever, I'm not gonna get you into the low health anyway. I accept. No stunnies. You get him, Crystalline Herald. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, okay.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them
Alright.
all.
Fitting that he should be the last thing to attack.
Their formation is broken. Maintain
KO.
the offensive.
Well, that's all the time I really have to show you how he's played. I highly urge you to try out the Veiled today. It's a very, very fun, very unique way to ride the edge of Risk. Well, thanks for watching. We're going to be back to normal video-wise next week. Back to a Let's Play on Wednesday, and then guide on Saturday next week. Whew, it's just, I didn't feel like, because I missed a video last week, I didn't feel like losing traction on another guide video, while there are so many mods that I'm still backlogged with. So, just be patient. I'm going to get to, hopefully, every mod I can, every modded class that has come out probably within the last year, and then start dipping into the older ones. So, thanks for watching. Stay frosty.